Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's album review. Today, we are going to be reviewing Wild West by Central Cee. Thanks for the request, Cop Floss, one of our regular contributors to the channel. So I'm going to share the screen with you to show you the Wikipedia page. So it says in brackets mixtape. I don't know what that means, Brett. I'm sure you do. Can you enlighten me, please?
I actually don't think I can, to be honest. No.
Really? Okay.
And is that not just the? I suppose it's not like the name of it. Okay. No, I'm not too sure.
Actually, I could probably click there. It does mixtape. It's a compilation of music, typically from multiple sources, recorded onto a medium with origins in the 1980s. So, okay, so it's some kind of compilation. Anyway, I still don't really get it, but okay, in terms of this, but okay. Wild West is the debut mixtape by British rapper Central Cee. It was released independently on the 12th of March 2021. I've never heard of Central Cee, and I'm guessing, Brett, you haven't either.
I've not heard of Central Cee, but from Shepherd's Bush.
It's from Shepherd's Bush. Okay, so this is UK drill music. I actually came across this genre of music quite recently, and it's like very feels very London. If you know what I mean. It's like kind of like for the drill that UK drill that I heard, it just felt, it was like rap, like UK. You could easily tell it was like UK. I don't know how to explain it. So I'm guessing it's going to be
very
something
street.
Very street. So I'm kind of expecting it to be something possibly a little bit similar to that. So it debuted at number 2 in the UK albums chart, which is pretty good. And yeah, here's the track listing. So it's 14 tracks. They're all very short. Nearly all of them are under 3 minutes. Total length 38 minutes 26 seconds. So I guess it's kind of good in the sense of, they're all short, so we get to kind of experience quite a lot of different tracks. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what this is going to be like. Brett, what are you thinking? Do you know anything about UK drill?
Yeah, no, listen, I know absolutely nothing about UK drill, so I'm very much looking forward to getting a new genre in my repertoire as such. So yeah, like I've said for a lot of the ones we're going with a clear head, see what comes out. And I think, yeah, hopefully it works out better where the tracks aren't too long, so it doesn't feel too repetitive and each song. But yeah, I'm looking forward to, just because it's something a little bit new, a bit different as well. So see what comes from it.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to go off and listen to the album, and we'll let you know what we thought of it in just a few seconds. Okay. So we've now listened to the album, and Brett, if I could ask you please to tell me what you thought of it.
Okay. I think the main thing I'll probably say from this is, I know we say I love some of the same things with rap albums, and I'm sure we're going to repeat a lot of the same things again with this one. But for some reason, I don't know why, with this one, I felt pretty old. I felt really old and outdated with this one. Now, I know we've listened to rap album. There's always, we've talked about or live reactions we've done, and we've talked about, it felt very modern, and, there's very modern word useness. But for some reason with this one, because I think he's rapping quite clearly in it, and there's not too much distraction in the background, it's just him rapping. And we've always talked about, hard to understand, so we don't really take in the lyrics. But this one, I was trying to listen to the lyrics because there was the only thing to listen to, really. But I couldn't understand what he was talking about. I think it just felt a bit too... Like I said, maybe I was just having an off day, and like I said, it really shouldn't bother how I felt with the album, but I don't know, it just felt like it was taking, you know, modern language to like a whole new level. Like, just couldn't. There were some songs I could relate to and I could get what it was about. Otherwise, I'd have no idea what he was talking about. Like other rap things we listen to, you can kind of get the feeling, oh, they're talking about prostitutes, or they're talking about drugs, or they're talking about gangs, or this. He could have been talking about a lot of times anything. I just didn't know. I should have done probably more research to look into some of the things he was talking about. But yeah, otherwise, bringing it back, you know, in terms of the album, it did feel quite repetitive in some regards. There was a standout song for me, and we'll go in more detail when we get to it from there. Otherwise, this was also meant to be like a specific genre of rap, wasn't it? But for me, apart from, you know, it having rapping and then having like, it felt a bit like when we talked about alternative hip hop, where they've used just sort of different kind of music in the background and been rapping over it. It just felt like it could have been a version of that, really. It didn't feel anything special or unique about it, just different kind of background music to him rapping, really. Is it the worst thing we've ever listened to? No. But it definitely wasn't sort of my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to touch on some of the things that you've just mentioned there shortly. I'll just go through my notes here. So I've put here, I've always been aware of this kind of music. So when I say this kind of music, I'm talking about what I would call sort of inner city, British, urban kind of rap. Like the kind of rap I've more familiar with, and probably you as well. It's more, you know, American stuff. So I think with this, this is very British urban kind of sounding, if you see what I mean. So I really didn't mind it. It's quite unusual where I would like an album more than you, but I think it's definitely one of those cases. I found it quite easy to listen to. I think because what was good about it, I think it was 14 tracks. So it was a short album, but all the tracks on there were short. So you kind of never really got bored of listening to one, you know, it's quickly moving on to another one, then another one. So I thought the length of it was pretty good. And I was quite interested in the lyrics. Like I was always looking forward to listening to this album and focusing very much on the lyrics, just because I knew that it was, well, the guy's from Shepherd's Bush in London, so I knew it was going to be very, you know, close to home. Close to home in one sense, very far away from home in another sense, which I'll talk about in a minute. I even had the lyrics on screen for every single song, because I really wanted to kind of get into it. So I knew that if I just listened to the lyrics on their own, even though, yeah, I'd understand every, you know, well, maybe not every word, but I'd understand words, but I wouldn't get the full meaning. I wanted to see it on screen, basically. And I think that really helped. I think I'm guessing you didn't do that. Maybe I think that would have been a big help. And the only thing I would say, I don't think the lyrics were quite as interesting as I'd hoped for. What I meant by that was I was hoping for more London geographic related vocabulary that I could maybe relate to a little bit more. But it wasn't a bad album by any means. I actually really didn't mind listening to this. It's still not really my cup of tea, but it's actually all right. It's saying that. And I'm based on what you said as well. So you felt old listening to it to a slight extent. I agree. But I think the reason why we maybe feel detached from this music is it's not really so much because of the age. It's more just because our upbringing was quite different. This is, you know, very, you know, it's a bit of a stereotype, but, you know, inner London, growing up in poverty, maybe seeing your parents and being, you know, like maybe only having a mum, living with your mum, or, you know, I don't know, being surrounded by people taking drugs, very sort of gangster like that. You know what I mean? I don't think it's the age so much. It's more to do with that's not how we were brought up. It's not our scene really, which is why like you, there's a lot of language there that I didn't understand, because we're just not, that's not our scene, you know, we're not in, it's not how we speak, never has been. So yeah, I'd say it's more because of that for me personally. And yeah, and that's also the reason I was saying a few minutes ago why I kind of felt very close to it, because it's from London where I'm from, but yet so far because it's like another world in a way, like just not kind of how we, you know, our scene. So yeah, let's go through the songs. So the first one was 6 for 6. It was all right. Sort of, I've described it as very British urban as expected, but also a little bit more chilled than expected. I'd say that's quite a common theme throughout. It did have that kind of chilled kind of feeling to it. It never got too intense, like sort of some rap stuff can. This was quite relaxed. So that's, yeah, my comments on that one.
I won't go too much on the comments you made, so I think we'll go as we're going through the tracks, but I agreed with obviously a lot you were saying as well. And yeah, this one is a good sort of example where I really like sort of an introduction, kind of put sort of that sort of Spanish Latino kind of intro start to it. Okay, it's quite interesting. And then you had sort of the rapping parts with it there. So, and you're right, throughout the album, it never got too intense. There was a couple of tracks where I think it got a little bit more intense, but even then, in the grand scheme of things of rap, it didn't get that too far really. Yeah, otherwise this was sort of a nice one, and this is probably one of the better ones that I'd liked from the album. And this is where I was making the point, you know, it felt very modern, felt very streets. But I'll talk about some of the other things as we go through the songs. But yeah, this one actually was, as an intro, nice. Just didn't know what was all about. What was 6 for 6?
Second one was Fraud. So even though the rap is quite fast, it still feels quite slow because of the background music style. Had that kind of, I don't know, the background music kind of made it a little bit more kind of chilled and relaxed. But overall, it was a so-so track, I would say.
Yeah, and that's what I sort of put in here. So, and as you say, yeah, quite slow, but also like he was, you know, speaking quite clearly and like actually sounds quite good. I actually quite liked him as a rapper in his voice. But I just didn't know what it was, even though the title Fraud, you get more of an idea, but still didn't know too much. We kind of had a sort of a chorus a little bit with it as well, so it did try to follow like elements of a song. I think having the background music kind of helped. So yeah, but overall I preferred the song before rather than that one.
Then we had Pinging, 6 Figures. So kind of the same thing as previously. Not overly enjoying the lyrics on this one though, so again.
Yeah, see, this was slightly going more sort of downhill. I say if it was more like the first track, I probably would have been more interested in anything there. And yeah, so the lyrics. So I did take a note. So, like one of the lyrics here, like kids these days don't care about things together. All what's about the bag. So it kept referring back to the bag, and this is where I probably did my rant thing about being old.
Hang on a minute, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about Pinging or the bag?
No, so the next song is a song called The Bag, but he refers to the next one, and maybe you might have answered when it comes to the next one, because I still don't have the answer, but I didn't understand what this sort of term was all about. And unfortunately, search bag is such a generic word that it was hard to really get the sort of the meaning to it there. So that's what was where my rant already came from. So what was this all about? I don't not sure what. And even though it seems like the title, you know, Pimping 6 Figures, kind of has sort of an understanding to it, but the lyrics didn't quite, or I couldn't quite understand the lyrics from it to get what it was about.
Okay, so the next song was The Bag.
Yeah.
And this is where I put down, I don't understand a lot of the roadman slag. That's slang. The roadman slang. So I know the roadman, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's, you know, kind of, you know, what you'd call sort of street people that speak like this. I thought this one has a bit of a tune to it though, unlike the other ones. And
yes, boss, I do. Yes, boss. Yeah, boss, I do.
I don't think boss is really used these days, to be honest. Not like before. It's moved on. I mean, moved on from that. Yeah. I thought this was a better sounding track than others. To be honest, it just had a bit of a tune going for it. So yeah, this was all right. This one.
So I like the background music to this one, but again, all I kept thinking about is sort of like the lyrics. So I want to know where the bag is at, and like I said, it's just so hard to get sort of a meaning understanding to it there. So roadman chats. Yeah, so with the bag, like I said, the frustrating thing for this song was that the fact is I had no idea what this reference to the bag was at. So you know, you mentioned that I want to know where the bag is at, but I don't know what that was, what that was all about. But bringing it back to the song, like I said, I did like the background music to it, but like I said, it was frustrating just not to know what, even in a general sense, what this song was about. Because I said, if you had an idea, you know, if it was about drugs or about violence or about something else, I know it can't always be something about specific. It might help to give us an understanding of it. So that was just a frustrating thing, and probably why I said I felt old listening to this by not understanding what that was all about.
Okay, so the next one was Day in the Life, and it was from this moment onwards where I started to write down some or copy and paste some lines from the songs. So I quite like the lyrics and the background music to this one. The line I took was, "Turn off the auto tune, let's hear how you really rap." Greg, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, so yeah, that was my view on that song. Not a bad one. Brett, what did you think of it?
Yeah, so it's funny that you said that same lyric. That's exactly the same line I've put sort of here as well, because there is a song a bit later on we get to where he does use auto tune, and it's actually one of the aspects of the album I actually quite like. Really going off topic, what I found, so the title, Day in the Life, so not that I'm trying to go off topic at all, is also named another Beatles, is a song of the Beatles, which is quite an unusual title, really. So I was hoping maybe there was some sort of link with that, really, or maybe it was going to use the tune of that, but it didn't. It was just coincidence in some sense. But otherwise, yeah, the background music, like with a lot of songs, isn't too bad. It's actually all right to listen to. Again, just for me, it was just hard to get sort of a full understanding of what was being talked about. And I'm feeling at this point, it does feel a little bit repetitive. It's very much the same.
Okay, so the next song was Done Deal. And the line I took from this, you know how I was talking earlier about not being as many references I would have liked to London? Well, this one, I did find one. Used to catch the 52 bus back when we got shanks from the army shop. So I think shanks means knives. But the 52, the 50, yeah, just to shank someone, to stab someone, to get to. So the 52 bus runs from Victoria to Wilson Bus Garage, and yeah, I've been on that, and you know, quite a few times in the past. So I presume that's what the 52 bus he was talking about. It's the only 52 bus in London. But yeah, apart from that, I haven't really got anything else to. Oh, no, I have got something else to say. Kind of getting into it at this point, I was like, okay, you know what? This isn't actually too bad. This music, I don't actually mind it. It's quite. I wouldn't say it's quite good, but it's all right. It's listenable. I think what I would say about this sort of music, it doesn't feel right that I should be listening to it. You know what I mean? As a kind of 36-year-old what's the nicest way of saying it? You know, just a non-roadman person. It doesn't feel like I should be listening to it. Like, I don't know, like just kind of feel out of place listening to it, because like you said, we don't really understand it. So, but in terms of how it sounds, and it's all right. But anyway, that's my kind of halfway through kind of review.
Yeah, you kind of took my ending line I was going to be, because that was kind of the point I was sort of making, where actually it didn't feel right listening to it. It felt sort of, and that's what I said at the start, where I felt so sort of old from it as well. And it's funny because for this particular type of music, you generally feel you can listen to a certain age, I think. I'm not really this type of music, but I think modern versions of this type of music, maybe it's a bit like seeing an old man wearing like trainers and shorts. I don't know, you kind of need to, it doesn't fit quite right. But at the same time, we can obviously appreciate, you know, the positives and some of the negatives of the songs. The reason I'm watching on the side of things, because generally I put here, there's mention of a number bus, and I'm hoping that Lee will be able to tell us a little bit about it, which he did. And I'm sure that's absolutely right as well. The can just supported the reward and for his profit. So there's lots of little lines where I sort of didn't quite understand sort of what was going. But at this point, these next couple of songs, I'll be honest, you do get sort of more of a general feel bit. So this one here, obviously, there's talk about maybe him being, because you said about Shang knife somewhere. I didn't know if that was generally a jail sense. So at least I would say the positive, like I'm starting to get more of a feel and a story behind sort of what is going on. Even though I still don't fully understand what's being said, I'm still at least getting an idea of, you know, what it's about in a general sense.
So would it be fair to say that you understand the German rap more than this? Okay, when you translate it into English, because like you can't translate this into English because it is English, right, of some sort. So if you translate the German rap, which we now do, we get a better understanding of it. We know, like you said earlier, we know what they're rapping about. Is it drugs? Is it women? Is it whatever? Whereas with this, it's a little bit unclear because there's too much lingo we don't understand.
Exactly that, and that's exactly what it is. And I said it's not that you need to know everything, but at least get an idea, so at least you can give about.
Okay, sorry about the connection issues we've got going on here. Not sure what that's all about. So moving on to the next one. Brett, are you with us? Yeah, you're still here? Okay, so the next one. Okay, so the next one then is commitment issues. So this is an interesting one because he was getting romantic, and with this song, you know, talking about being with a woman and stuff, saying, all right, he's not a romantic person, but it was like a kind of love kind of song.
Yeah, I don't know if romantic's the right word, but yeah.
And there's an interesting line which I didn't fully understand, and I'm sure, Brett, you won't be able to help me out with this, but the line I took was, if I can't afford that bag that you want, then I would lick that for you. So the word I don't understand here is lick. Does it mean steal? That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know what it means to lick that for you. I kind of like this song, but kind of feels wrong to like it. In what I was saying a few minutes ago, it's like I quite like the sound of it, but it shouldn't be the sort of music that I should be listening to. I don't know. I just don't understand it. It's just not my scene.
Yeah, I can't really much add more to that one, but yeah, I like this one, but also it should be a good reason why I shouldn't like it as well. again, like I was saying before, so at least you're still getting a content of what he's actually rapping and talking about. So that again just kind of helps a little bit. Yeah, I can't help you with the licking of a bag. I thought maybe it was going down a different route with that. And what else was there in? Yeah, but it's quite interesting to and actually almost. I know I laugh when he said romantic, and I think there is where he's trying to be romantic. He said he should have done a bit better with life, but at the same time, like maybe it was that the only reason you're having a go at me and stuff caught me because I didn't delete the texts with those hoes that I slept with and stuff. But like I said, I think there was a little bit of remorse from him, so you did see a bit of a sensitive side, even though it's not probably the best example of it in the song. But yeah, it's one of the better songs I did like from it. But I said because I could get an understanding of what it was about.
Yeah, I think that's probably about as romantic as it gets for roadmen. Maybe they gotta keep up with their status and stuff. They can't be seen to be being too romantic, I guess. So on to the next one. Sex, money, drugs. So I don't think there's any questions about what this one was about. So what was interesting as well, there was a part here at the beginning of the song where it said, "Beam me up, Scotty." And that was the second time I heard it. That had previously been on another track as well. So yeah, the line I took from this: sex, money, drugs, I need all three. So that, kind of sums up, I don't know, like what this kind of whole sort of music is really. But it was the usual kind of chilled, rap style. So it was still quite easy to listen to. I didn't actually mind it, even though the lyrics weren't really my cup of tea, I guess. Brett, what about you?
Yeah, so sex, money, drugs, I need all three. Yeah, he says pretty much all the way through. This one now is the same old kind of thing. So nice sort of okay background music, same old rap. But again, it needs to sort of, so when I'm hit, when I here for now for hope, no dreams. So again, talking about this sort of you get more sort of understanding of his background, that he's come from a troubled past and he's kind of trying to get past that as well. So again, liking it because I'm getting more sort of a feel and idea of it, but otherwise it is quite the same to me there. Nothing special to that one. Okay,
so the next song was Ruby. It was interesting because Ruby was being talked about at the beginning of this track, but that was it. It was all about Ruby for the first few lines, and then it moved on to talk about someone else. But what was unusual about this particular song compared to the others that I noticed was that it's about other people rather than himself. So as I said, it was about Ruby, then about another guy. So it was kind of like third person, like talking about someone else. I wasn't actually as keen on this one. And as a kind of thing, I noticed as well, there was like a man's voice in there singing "As Cold as Ice," that kept sort of cropping up throughout the song.
Yeah, so for me, this was my sort of standout song. Now, not just because, so obviously that "Cold as Ice" bit was, obviously taken from a famous song by Foreigner, "Cold as Ice," ironically what it was called. But as I kept saying from some other ones, like again, you have this sort of clear understanding what is being rapping about. And so I like to hear about Ruby, and I think there was Jack, and I think there was Max as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, for me, like I could feel again, even though a lot of the lyrics couldn't fully understand, but got sort of an idea and got more of an understanding stuff there. So yeah, no, actually this was my favorite sort of standout one from there really. So I like that one.
Okay. The next one was "Hate It or Love It." I think that was a song by 50 Cent, wasn't it? Hate It or Love It, or something like that. It can get, the line I took, it can get awkward when these girls ask me, what do you do for a living? They see the chain and get intrigued. I say I do music, innit? Yeah, the song was just average. There's nothing too much to say about it from me.
Yeah, also I haven't got sort of a lot to say on this one here. This is where I've gone sort of back to some of the other songs where didn't really know what's going on. Standard background tune, standard rapping, nothing stands out for this one here.
Okay, so after the 52 bus mention, we're now on to our second kind of local geographical thing that I've noticed. Don't know if you noticed this as well, Brett. So Christmas Eve, I'm on the A40 trying to act Lidge. When I hit the back road, I'll pick up the speed. So it's from Shepherd's Bush, well, that's where he was born anyway, or brought up. So the A40 goes very, very close to Shepherd's Bush on its way out, sort of to the west, northwest. So yeah, I like that line just because it has the A40 in it. But the song itself to me was nothing special. I wasn't really paying attention to maybe the lyrics as well as I should have done. So the song's called Christmas Eve, but I didn't really hear many kind of Christmassy kind of words in there. Unless Brett, you picked up on something.
No, definitely not. I was and that's what was so surprising. Is like I was thinking, okay, because it's an unusual time to have on for Christmas Eve, unless it's going to be something specifically about Christmas Eve. But again, like I said, I could be out of touch and just have no idea. Maybe there was lots of Christmas references, just wouldn't recognise them. He talks about all these P's and then these G's, so whether they got something to do with Christmas, I don't know. But yeah, what stood out for me was also the A40, which obviously know quite well as well. And yeah, that starts. I think it starts in this sort of best Shepherd's Bush, and yeah, as you said, goes out west. Just to go off topic as well, it then merges onto what is actually my favourite motorway in the UK.
Okay, so there was a connection issue there. I think what Brett was trying to say.
There was
So we have a bit of a connection issue. So yeah, because a second.
Oh, yeah,
Brett, can you hear me?
You have frozen on me.
Okay, so sorry about that, everyone. So I think Brett was trying to say the A40 merges onto the M40, your favourite motorway. Okay, guys, so once again, sorry for the connection issues. Anyway, the next song was Loading. So the line, I took two lines from this actually. I'm Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin, which I liked, obviously from Home Alone. And also the line I took was, bro, just jumped out the ride with a mask on, faced like he dodging COVID. So obviously very, relatable to now. So obviously shows it's a new album, if it's talking about COVID and all that sort of stuff. Now, what's interesting about this song, it seemed to have like jazz in the background. And it kind of sounded a little bit strange, the combination, like the kind of jazz and this kind of rap stuff. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it worked. It was all right.
Yeah, it's funny. I've got exactly sort of the same points there. I made reference to the Home Alone and Macaulay Culkin reference there, and then also about the COVID thing, and said it's really interested to hear something so current and up to date to hear stuff about COVID in it. I can't remember if we listened to something else as well where it mentioned COVID.
I think we did.
It sounds familiar. Yeah. I think I just can't remember what that was, but either way, it's still, I still find it quite interesting when you hear it come up in music and stuff. And yeah, the main thing I put was what you were saying, Dad. You had this sort of 1920s like American jazz kind of music in the background, and all the past other music, even though it hasn't felt like rap music, it's been quite, I don't want to use the word forgettable, even though it has been forgettable, but it's just been okay. There's nothing stand out, but this one stood out a bit more, and it just really didn't, for me, didn't go with sort of the rap that was going on with this one. I'm not saying that you couldn't use that music, but for some reason with this particular song, it didn't work, and it really stood out for not working in my eyes. So that's what I really put about that one.
Okay. The next one was Tension. I put no notes. This one kind of just passed me by. I don't know. It didn't stand out for me at all. I didn't have anything good to say about it. Didn't have anything particularly bad to say about it. Sorry, just nothing to say. Speechless.
I've put a note here. This was over 3 minutes long, so it's actually one of the longest tracks on the album. There was some interesting lines in this one here. So I think for this one, he was kind of referring to how, I mean, he's only young himself, but how I don't know if he's got TV.
Go.
Yeah, so one of the things I've put here, my notes was that this was a song that went over 3 minutes, so it's actually one of the longest songs on the album. Otherwise, there was just a couple of interesting lines that I took from it. So, like I said, I don't know if Central Cee's got children or if he's just referring to other young people, which is weird because he feels quite young himself. But he talks about them watching the Disney Channel, but back in his day, he didn't have that many channels. Now, again, sorry, I know it's not about age. That could be just, it's back when maybe they just couldn't afford to have TV with that many channels on. And then also having dinner. He talks about dinner. They would have had Nutella and bread. There was nothing wrong with that. But now kids today are now having, or youth today are having tagliatelle instead of Nutella and bread. So again, it's just still really quite interesting those sides. Otherwise, I have to note that the backcountry of this one, actually, in comparison to the last one, is actually quite a nice one. I do quite like it. Yeah, otherwise, just a strange, unusual song.
Okay. So the next one then, I think it was the last one, wasn't it? So it was Gang Biz. So yeah, the line I took was, I got suburban children using our language, judging the way that we're living outlandish. They want to ban it. They don't understand it. Slander my name. It's affecting my branding. So I guess what he was trying to say maybe was talking about, you know, people outside of that kind of roadman type people, or, you know, are also kind of starting to listen to his music as well. So suburban children, you know, not from the hood, should we say, maybe more kind of middle class people in their, I don't know, semi-detached houses in there, I don't know. So yeah, something about that, how they're listening to it, but then they want to ban it. They don't understand it. Slander my name. It's affecting my branding. They don't quite get the full gist of it. But I actually quite like this song. It was all right.
Yeah, I picked up a little bit on that, but yeah, I didn't quite get what he was going with that one there. It felt like an all right song, sort of a nice way to sort of end the album as such, but otherwise it did feel very much the same. What touch be listening to this? It doesn't feel right. I should be listening to it. He's trying to do, but maybe just needs a bit more time to sort of experience out, or just have a bit more sort of idea, or get more of an idea what it's all about, really. So
yeah,
I can't really say much more on that.
Yeah, so this was requested by Kopf Loss, our regular contributor, who I believe is a native German speaker. So I'd be interested to know, if you're watching, do you understand this? Yeah, I guess that was my question. Do you understand it? Do you understand all the lyrics? Do you know all this kind of, you know, slang that we obviously don't know? So yeah, like you say, like I said earlier, just feels a bit wrong listening to it. I don't know, it's something not don't feel like the right. But I don't know. At the end of the day, if you like music, you like music. A certain type of music, you like a certain type of music. So I kind of liked it in a way, but it's more to do with it's my language. In the sense of it's English, but I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand enough of the each song to be able to actually fully understand the meaning of it, which I think is an issue. So I think there's only a certain, how can I say it? But then I suppose like the German rap stuff as well. Like people always say to us, don't they? You can't fully appreciate it if you don't understand it, which is fair enough. So it's kind of like this as well. Maybe we can't fully appreciate it if we don't we don't fully understand it. But it was actually all right to listen to, and I would actually still be interested in kind of checking out some more of this type of music, mainly because I'm interested in the lyrics. You know, I like to get. I like it when they use kind of, you know, London in geographical kind of things, bus numbers, or like we saw here, road numbers or places and stuff. Yes, kind of quite interested. So if you've got any more requests for any album of any genre, any language, just let us know in the comments section below. You also have the opportunity to feature on our channel to introduce your chosen album. So I think that is it from us. Apologies for the connection issue today. Not sure why that is. We'll have to work on that. And yeah, we'll see you again soon for the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.